Okay, I think that's everything. I got the book, I got the mister, the candles are out, and the tree is growing nice and black and scary and all that mess. Well, here we go. All that's left is the incantation. Rhok'Zan VA Oscura.
Mortal! You dare summon me again? Have your pathetic lives not been extended long enough by my gift? Have your lusts not been sated? Must you torment your...
Gonna stop you right there.
Wait, what?
Look, you can drop the scary act. I've literally been in hell before and saw a cluster of BS. I've seen stuff beyond people's comprehension. You can speak with me as equals, really. Legitimately. You don't gotta go through this. Yeah.
Okay. Well, this is new. Regardless, that begs the question. What have you summoned me for?
Smooch.
Pardon?
I desire a big, sloppy, lustful, deep smooch, and to have you as my girlfriend.
Wait a moment, this is...
Look, I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm sorry if I seem really pushy, but I can't take this anymore. Every single relationship I've been in with a human has ended with me either getting cheated on by someone or by them literally keeping me in the friend zone for years. Hell, my last relationship wasn't even with a human at all. It was a hellhound, and she was the definition of anger issues and right hooks. Every single time I got her food or beer, if it wasn't perfectly right, meticulously planned out, I would get bitch slapped and bitten. I love bites, but not like that. I need a worthwhile, loving, peaceful relationship.
And you thought to summon an eldritch goddess to achieve that? I am the All-Mother, not some hellhound.
Exactly! You're the perfect image! See, watch. See? Perfect partner. Bam!
Look, that's very flattering, but I really don't think...
Listen, you are the only person that I can, without question, choose to be my significant other. You're kind, loving, everyone in the world is your kid, so I have plenty of help when we take care of our 1,000 children.
Our 1,000 what now?
And you look sexy as a goddamn goddess, which makes sense, because you are a goddess. You are the only one I can go to at this point. The only furry babe that won't hurt me.
That's, nice of you to say, really. Not many have said that before, honestly. Especially as aggressive and passionate as you did. However, me with a human? I don't know. There could be plenty of repercussions. Not to mention the last relationship with a human didn't end well.
I'll give you all the metal cans you can eat.
Deal!
She say you love me, I told her I don't know. She wanna love me, I told her I don't even know. She been...
Eldritch horrors! One of the most gripping and interesting genres of horror stories that many people have actually gotten hooked on for decades, possibly even centuries. Where most horror stories have a known entity or a killer that many can see, Eldritch horror mostly focuses on the fear of the unknown, which can be known to make plenty of people feel anxiety and fear from not knowing exactly what to brace themselves for. This type of horror has stood the test of time for many generations due to how open-ended and practically fear-inducing it can be. The one that comes to mind that really sets the tone of Eldritch horror is The Call of Cthulhu, which has spawned many iterations and has broken through different types of media like books, cinema, and even video games. With there being so many different types of Eldritch gods, there is no shortage of material to work with. However, when the creators of these psychological horrors put out their first work and created a name for themselves, there was one thing that the people could never expect to come from it. The fact that some people want to bang these things. As of this point in 2024, we have accumulated a group of people known as furries and monster f***ers. These guys have been known to be smitten by individuals who look like Legoshi and Renamon, and apparently the dragon from Shrek. To be fair, I can see their point. I mean, take one look at Maid Marian, or Toriel, or Tony the Tiger, and there's a possibility that you may turn into one of these type of guys too. That also extends to Eldritch gods. I mean, most depictions of Cthulhu are usually of a giant squid monster. Yeah, You see where I'm going with this? You see the tentacles? Yeah, a couple of you are watching are probably kicking your feet and squealing. And thus, that's when people started making stories of a human and an eldritch god falling in love and doing unspeakable acts that would get my channel probably demonetized. Sometimes it's boy-girl, sometimes it's girl love, sometimes it's boy love, and every time, it's just crazy. But what if I told you there was a group that created a game where you, the player, get to indulge in that call to smooch some eldritch beauties? Enter Sucker for Love, a game developed by Akabaka and published by Dread XP. This is a point-and-click visual novel where you're tasked with summoning an eldritch goddess and earning a succulent kiss from them. The first game, released January 20th of 2022 on Steam, was a huge hit with people in the visual novel dating sim scene, with many people praising its voice acting, artwork, and of course, their waifus. My favorite in the first one is Nyarlathotep. My favorite in the first one is Nyarlathotep, mostly because, well, you know. Even I myself was playing this game and was having a blast with the mechanics and how the game blended the horror with the cutesiness to it. I honestly enjoyed this a bit more than Doki Doki Literature Club, but that's probably because of, once again. However, this video isn't about the first game. Oh no, we're talking about something even better. The name of the game is Sucker for Love, A Date to Die For, which is another game in the series of dateable and smashable eldritch ladies. This one was actually released April 23rd of this year. Question is, why would I review these games out of order? Well, that's because the developers of this game sent me a review code to test out this game. So, in a way, this could be seen as a sponsored video. Kinda. Regardless, thanks to Akabaka for sending me this code and allowing me to be able to enjoy this title on release day. Of course, a link to the game will be in the description for anyone else who wants to try it out. Now, due to the nature of this review, I won't be spoiling too much of the story and events, more like talking about the main plot and giving a general synopsis. I'll most likely be stopping where the demo ends, so if you guys want the full story, then you'll have to play the game yourself. So, with that being said, time to grab your chant books, your misters, and your wedding rings, because it's time for us to delve deep into the scary and admittedly sexy adventure that awaits us. In this game, we play as a heroine named Stardust, who has returned to her hometown of Sacramento. Okay, I see what they did there. After getting a strange letter from her parents, who hadn't spoken to her in a while. After waking up in a bookstore, we set out into the dark roads of town. This place has been completely overrun by a group of cult followers who have been inflicted with something that gives them the stare. After getting almost captured by a valley girl, we make a run for Stardust's childhood home, which coincidentally is also where all the rituals took place. Ha! Lucky us, huh? Thus, we head upstairs to her room and prepare to summon the All-Mother. Let's segue into gameplay while we get ready. In this game, you're tasked with finding items, setting up the room for rituals, and generally making sure that everything is just as descripted before saying the incantation. After getting everything set up, we summon the All-Mother, and she...
Must you continue to torment your goddess so?
Baby girl, you can torment me all night. You don't gotta worry about that. Okay, nope. Put that woman on the top. Put her on the top. Yes, right there, on the top. Put her on the top of the list, because cat, damn, move over, Toriel. We got a new goat mama here. Anyway, as I was saying, we summon the All-Mother in hopes of destroying her and freeing the 1,000, who are basically the ones that are within this cult. That's right, we're not trying to smooch, we're trying to kill. Funnily enough, she's actually all for it. She introduced herself as Rhok'Zan. Wait. Rhok'Zan. She introduces herself as Rhok'Zan. She is the one who gave her power to the head of the 1,000, and it's up to us, and her knowledge, to burn the Black Woods and set everything back to the way it was before. Alright, that's all I'm going to say about the story. What I will say is that the story does have plenty of twists and turns, and all the girl love fluff you could ever ask for. You meet other cultists, set some of them free, and even find out more about the cult, and even more about the founder who is behind all of this. Once again, I won't spoil the story and its main plot points. It's a good story though, no worries on that. So let's dive into the gameplay instead. Now, I mentioned the game was a point-and-click visual novel, but technically, there's also some light survival horror mechanics as well. Throughout the game, you'll have moments where you'll have to watch your step and take careful steps when walking around the home in order not to get caught by multiple adversaries that may try to kill you. These guys can get pretty challenging too, since they actually have AI that can trip you up, while also not having any specific patterns. Some of them in later chapters will even have extra mechanics that make them more challenging, but they're not so challenging to the point of getting really stuck. I only had 1 or 2 instances where it felt like they spawned into the same room I was in, which resulted in an instant game over, but it wasn't anything I couldn't handle. Now, the puzzles in this game also are pretty simple. Some chapters will have secret things in there that you may have to do in order to get the true ending to them. This is a returning mechanic from the first game. There's never really a clear answer to what you have to do except in the 3rd chapter, but if you look at everything and actually interact with the game, rather than just booking it to the end, you won't have any problem finding them. The route map also helps where you could load at any chapter that you've passed. The game has plenty of gameplay shakeups too, especially in the final chapter. Now, that chapter had some interesting mechanics and things to remember. All in all, the gameplay has an interesting mix of gameplay, and thanks to the game not being too long, it doesn't get super stale or overstay its welcome. My playtime was around 4.5 hours, but I chalked that up to not dying a lot until around the 3rd chapter. I'm honestly impressed how the game does a fairly good job with making this game its own with the use of survival horror mechanics. To my knowledge, I'm not sure if any other visual novel has added these mechanics in this way, which will allow it to have a legacy far into the future. This game also shows how much the developers have evolved with the development skills. In the first game, you're mainly only locked within a small home, and with there being only really 3 rooms you could go to, there wasn't really that much of a searching type of situation. Everything was right in front of you. In this game, you have the entire house to explore, with it having 3 whole floors. This also adds to the tension of being jump scared and caught by your adversaries, while as the first game was mainly creepy due to the possibility of messing up an incantation or being killed by your chosen waifu.
Nothing ordinary. It could have just been the house settling, like I said.
Ah! Okay, that scared me. I ended up clicking off tab. Which now brings me to the thing people spoke about. Yes, in this game, the only Eldritch lady that has any main spotlight is Rhok'Zan, whereas the first game has 3 ladies, being Neon Latep, I'm just gonna say Aunt Nan, being Aunt Nyan Nyan, Esther, and Lynetta. Some folks spoke of how disappointing they were to see that the amount was so low, but at the same time, I can kind of see why they were going with this route here. With having only one person to try and get with, that allows the writer to tailor a story that is more well-rounded without having to worry about one story possibly falling flat. If you're gonna have a story, make it a good one, and if focusing on only one romance with one girl works better, then that's a respectable reason. I honestly don't mind that, especially with how they've thrived and improved on what already worked, especially with this story having more stakes within it. Having only one lady in the spotlight is perfectly fine in my book. So, what are the things that I liked about this game? Well, making sure not to talk about the things I may have already stated, the art style of this game is one that I absolutely love. The game has this 80s anime aesthetic, something that I love a whole lot. Animes like Inuyasha, Yu Yu Hakusho, and even Sailor Moon were animes I adored as a kid, so seeing an art style that reminds me of it just leaves a sweet and wonderful taste in my mouth. The voice work of this game is also amazing, especially for the leading lady Rhok'Zan. Like, oh, fuck dude, her voice could make me fold instantaneously!
How wonderful.
There we go! Ha!
All of this fresh blood were as good as home free.
Okay, we're alright.
Soon I will finally leave Sacramento behind. Hopefully, wherever you spend the remainder of your reality will be greener pastures as well.
And Aunt Nyan Nyan, man. Holy fucking shit! He's sexy. Rhok'Zan only gave me lightheadedness, but this, my sanity is slipping through my fingers like grains of sand.
Pardon my intrusion, but when my niece didn't awaken, wailing and clutching at her sheets, I knew something was amiss. I had to see the source of her pleasant dreams for myself.
Ooh, baby mama.
I've heard much about you. The way
Don't think
my
I don't
niece
see
spoke
them
it.
muscles, baby girl. If she told me to lay down and submit to her, I would just... I I would die. I would absolutely die a happy man. That's how amazing the voice work is. Speaking of characters, the designs of them are also pretty well drawn, with plenty of different looks and archetypes that fit their personalities. Plenty of waifus and even a few husbandos as well. Can't complain where that's concerned. The gameplay, as stated before, is fun, the horror elements are more than just gore and jump scares, and the overall plot and story is a pretty good one, having a nice enthralling adventure with excellent girl love romance. Yeah, only thing I had an issue with though was the game stopping to load something every now and again. Usually when something is changing with the character or with the game trying to keep up with any quick movements. None of these moments led to a death, but it did make me wonder if I had crashed the game. I can safely report though that I had experienced no crashes, so we're good on that one. Other than that, there were no problems whatsoever with playing the game. No bugs, no glitches, and no soft locks or crashes to speak of. This game is a relatively solidly built one. Sucker for Love: A Date to Die For is an excellent example of taking a game genre and adding to it other mechanics that only make it an even greater experience. From taking what worked with the first game to making new additions to it in order to make it stand on its own, they were able to create an amazing second title in the series. And with the way they wrote the story and the plot, it's safe to say that they could even expand it to add even more Eldritch God waifus and even more stories to go with them. I highly recommend giving this game a shot, especially if you're in the market for a visual novel dating sim with some survival horror action and light puzzles. You won't regret playing it, believe me. And at the very least, you'll be able to date what is essentially the greatest furry waifu ever. Phew! Well then, I believe it's time I get back to Rhok'Zan. Apparently she's been feeling a bit frisky, and I gotta make sure she's got plenty of metal cans. Hey, look, it's worth it. I mean, look at the hips. Seriously, look at them! Hey guys, thanks for watching, and thanks to Akabaka for the review code for the game. If you all are interested in the game, be sure to check it out on their Steam page. A link to it can be found in the description below. The game right now is 10% off until April 30th, so if you're looking for a time to grab it, now's the time. Once again, thanks for watching, and be sure to have a hell of a day.